Good morning. Thank you for having me here. I'm going to speak a little bit about our example of workplace, not at all the best or the only way, but how we manage some things, and you'll see that we will talk a little bit of how we put together a lot of the things that we heard this morning with, I think, Jeremy, Phil, and Enrique. So first, a little bit of context. Everyone knows Google started in a garage, and it wasn't that long ago, but this is exactly where it came. It was just rented from a friend, from Larry and Sergey. This is a picture of the early days. I think one of the very interesting phrases that we used to hear a lot is Google is not a conventional company, and it doesn't intend to be one. And this is a clear example that it was always like this, and it continues to be. When we first did the IPO, it was 2004, and we had 3,000 employees. And search was the main product we had at that time, and I think we believed that doing one thing really good would be a good way to start. But today we already developed, I think, 7, 8 very strong lines of businesses, including YouTube, that is one of the hits that we have today, and the number of views we have in videos. And you can see that even all the presentations we have today use some kind of video and some kind of streaming. The maps, I think, changed our lives and the way we find ourselves. Just coming here today, we had to help the taxi driver with a map. And in 16 years, we grew a lot. Now we have 52,000 employees globally. And I think, too, a little bit of what Enrique was saying, we still are in beta mode for our offices. We can't develop a way of working and a new design growing that fast. And I think we have been doing a pretty good job, but it scales exponentially. We just grow all the time and are opening other locations. Our first international offices was in 2001 in Tokyo. And now we have operations, I think, all over. I just thought it would be interesting to bring a little bit of Latin America. We are here, and it's the region that I manage. We have 9 offices now, and we are supporting around 2,000 seats of people in those offices. Our last project just opened in October, our direct office in Santiago in Chile. This is just a hint of our offices here in Buenos Aires, in Puerto Madero. I think it's one of the most charming offices we have, the location, the view, the interiors, and being also in an old brick building is fantastic. And this year, we won the prize, the Best Workplace, globally, around 6,000 companies. And I think that's just a little start of what I'm going to talk about today, because it's not only about the space. And I think when we talk about workspace at Google, we always see the big, beautiful pictures. And I didn't want to bring just pictures of our offices, because I think that you guys can see that in the internet very easily. But I think it's a lot about the spirit we put into it, the culture we have, and the way we work. And I think that's a little bit of what I'm going to bring, what's inside of the way we work. So in our group is called RUS, Real Estate and Workplace Services. We have around 400 people today working in this matter for our offices. We work in the design, construction, and also the operations of our spaces. Can I come back? Yes. So we have around 15 million meals served per year in our offices. And I'm going to talk a little bit about food later, but about, I think, what Jeremy, David, and all of Phil also said. It's a lot about the emotion that we put into it. It's a lot about having people happy and having them comfortable. And everyone agrees that food is a wonderful thing to have people gather around, talk about. I think just deals with our emotions and how we work. This is one of the pictures of our office in Santiago that just opened a month ago. So when we talk about design, we talk about simplicity. I think we always are looking for that. We don't look for expensive design or expensive furniture because things change very quickly, but we want to bring comfort, cozy, and simple environments. So we talk a lot about collaboration, and I think to what we were discussing this morning, people don't need to come to the office, right? They can work from wherever they want. So we really want to create spaces, to have services, and to have this home feeling that they want to come to the office. They want to be there. They want to share with their colleagues. So we focus a lot on the user experience, and with that, it's our internal employees, right? We are always engaging with them. Our spaces change dramatically. That is even one of the, I think the biggest discussions I personally have with architects is that they can't be attached to their design, right? We just deliver an office, we open an office, and a lot of weeks, 2 weeks later, we're already changing that space. Sometimes it's the Googler that's changing something. They are interacting with the space. They are writing on the walls. So things are not static, and they're not there for pictures, right? It's there for them to use. We focus a lot about health and well-being, and that you will see on our program, but I think it's a lot about feeling good, loving what you're doing, loving your peers, and also feeling part of that community. So a lot of the things that we do around health and well-being comes from our employees. So an example of that is in São Paulo last week, they just sent us an email saying, we want meditation groups, and we have a group already, we just need a space. Can we use this space to have meditation half an hour per day? And we said, yes, why not? So now we have a meditation space. And that didn't come from us, that didn't come from the company. We're not telling them that they should meditate. It's a voluntary group. They do it. Sometimes one of them leads it. It's not as structured coming from the company that it implies in something that we want someone to do or we are forcing someone to do. So we really hear what's coming from the group, what they want to do, and how we can just enable that to happen. So to the design of our spaces, we have, I think today, 4 people focusing only on user experience research. They sit in Mountain View and they are doing a lot of things regarding data and how to use the data we have on designing our offices and spaces. So some of the things that came out from that is that I think as much as we have technology, the more we want to be close to nature and have that feeling of being outside. So even biophilia, we want to pretend we are in a forest, right? Pictures that Phil showed. A lot of plants, nature, outside views, natural lighting. All of those things bring us comfort and well-being. So that is something that is kind of obvious, but you'll see every day more all of the spaces having things like that. And to that, I think Google created a base of knowledge in the green studies and environments. So our team, we have a team of 30 people just studying sustainability today for our offices and our operations. We have since 2010 what we call the Healthy Materials program. The Healthy Materials take in consideration everything that we use in our projects, the LEED certification, the waste diverse. We are working on all those areas globally. So today we already have 80 LEED certified buildings. In Latin America, for example, we have São Paulo and Buenos Aires with platinum, we have Mexico with gold, and we have around 100 projects still in the process of being certified. This is part of our healthy materials program. So I think the important part is that we have transparency with suppliers, and we really want our suppliers to tell us what they have in their products, and we have a process for that, that each one of them certifies a product inside of Google with all the statements and the information of what that product contains. On the health and well-being, as I said, I think food is a great part of our program, but we also work with what we were discussing a little bit of the active design, of having paths and having stairs and having wayfindings in the office that makes people not sit down every day, but just walk to a micro kitchen to get some coffee, go to a meeting room, have high adjustable desks too. So we are always creating features and tools in the office that people can have this available for them all the time. And as I said, a big part of it is how we use the space. So I just brought some examples that I think are interesting to show. We talk a little bit of what's googly, and I think that is a lot about empowering people. Our offices are designed and our services are designed to be self-service. We don't have a big support model. We are very lean in terms of staff. So we have systems in place that just make things work, and we are always trying to get better at that. The versions are always better. We are always adjusting, interfering, and upgrading. But it's a lot about the way people are. And I think that's what really brings our workplace to a place that people feel well in and they want to be in all the time. So starting at our receptions, that was a program that was, I think, implemented a couple of years ago with welcome kiosks. Today, you can register as an employee any visitor in a system. They just get in the reception, they fill in their names in that kiosk. You can pass your badge saying that they were there. I receive a message when my visitor comes in the reception as soon as they put their name there. So I don't need a receptionist, for example, to let me know that my visitor came, that he's there waiting for me. I can receive that message instantaneously. And the other thing that that brings for us in the operation is just data. So I have data on how many visitors went to each office in the region, what are the times that we have more visitors. Usually it's at lunch, right? But we can also see things like what is the employee that brings more visitors to the office, for example. All of our meeting rooms are equipped with what we call GVCs. That's the Google video conferencing system. And I think that we sometimes take for granted, but all of our meetings are via video and with Hangouts. When you book meeting rooms in Calendar, for example, you get into the meeting room, your meeting is already there. With one click, you already connect. So you don't need any technician or any special knowledge about how that system works. It's very user-friendly, and you can also present via Wi-Fi with just a simple command on your monitor. We also have massage programs, and I just put this here because it also has a system on the back end, and anyone can just book a massage. You can have the therapist seeing the calendar, and we also have a points program that serves as incentives. So I can just give my direct report, my employee, gift of an hour massage if they did something very well, if I want to incentive them in any way. And that also works for sometimes volunteers program. I need help with a presentation, someone helps me, and I can give them massage points. We have an internal system also about requests. So all of our facilities requests go through a ticketing system, and that also is the same system for IT, for HR, and I can easily see all the requests. I can see who is a employee that is requesting that, and who is my facility team member that is responding, what is the time response rates. I can read all the answers and track all the responses. And to our food program. I think the great part of it is how we can change people's life through food. And I think that changes the whole experience we have and the way we manage it. So we have a team that is very, very good on what they do. We have a lot of cafes around the world. This is La Place in New York. That was one of the recent openings of the cafe. And we have discussed that many, many times. Why do we need cafes in our offices if we are in New York on top of Chelsea Market, right? But I think one of the biggest benefits we have is exactly that engagement and that feel of being at home. You have all of the options available for you, but you have all your peers sitting next to you. You have conversations. You also talk about personal life. You talk about the weekend. You talk about the soccer game. And that just brings comfort that you know people, you are connected, and how you work better with that. And one of, I think, the biggest examples we have is the Gmail product that was just created through lunch with a couple of engineers in Mountain View discussing how they could just improve the email experience and make it better. One of the other things that is brand new, we just started this, I think, last year, is our culinary classes. So we developed a professional kitchen in Mountain View, and now we're opening one in New York too, that will teach our employees to cook. And I think one of the things that is behind that is that we don't just want to offer food in our offices, but we want them to get home, cook for themselves, have healthy meals, and also teach their kids, and not just order a pizza at night. So how will we make their lives better if we're just giving them the fish and not teaching them how to get it? So there's a lot, as I said, about the food and what's behind that and how to engage people in that. I think part of that is that the cafes that we are opening, and in Mountain View now we have 30 different cafes, we have 100 around the world. They are seen as normal commercial restaurants. So we have an Indian restaurant where you can just go and have Indian food. We have several different kind of spaces and environments. So you have that moment that you just get out of the normal office environment to something totally different. We have carry-outs to take home. And that's a lot about just making people comfortable, but also engaging them emotionally and bringing comfort and, I think, security in terms of you don't have to think about that because it's easy and it will be there. You can focus on your work. So I think one of the other things is to what we talked about, the future. This is not by any means an idea of what will happen in the future because I really don't know. But it's just how we are seeing it internally at Google and what is changing in our world. So one of the biggest changes that we are experiencing is the diversification of our business. Instead of having just office spaces today, we have labs, we have studios for YouTube, we have manufacturing plants, we have Google Shopping with warehouses and really on-the-ground services. So for us, it's a whole new world and how we support that and how we operate and how we can make that more efficient and better. And the other thing is that our users and our employees are also changing. So as the company develops and grows, we are not only the 20-year-old student anymore. So we have different people in the organization today. I think a huge conversation internally is about diversity, is about special needs people. How can we design our offices to make that experience better and to be universally used for all kinds of people and generations? And to that, I think the other presenters also talked a little bit about that. We also opened our campus sites. The campus is the Google for Entrepreneur sites. It's a kind of co-working space where we've tried to foster that community and that environment. So that is also something totally new to our office model that we are working on. So when we talk about what has changed, not much has changed, but we see a lot of density, we see a lot of technology, but the spaces are almost the same if you just think about desks and environments. So we are really looking into how we can make it more virtual, how we can bring new spaces for people, and how we can use data to study that and understand how that happens. We want to keep our spirit of a startup. Besides having 50,000 people, we have that spirit in our offices still, and we hope that we will still grow and keep that spirit. And I think part of that is also having that that use of the space, that we are not attached to it, so we can change it. It's not that we spent millions of dollars in something that it's not changeable. We are always renovating and changing that. So we are working with some different ideas, how we can engage those informal conversations in the office and not make it just formal as meeting rooms, but each time more. We are very, very flat in terms of having teams and communities working together. So we really work with different locations and geographies, and that will be vital for our future. And there's a small group inside Google working on that too. So there's a lot of research on college students on robotics and how we can learn from them. And there is the quantified Google is about how do we measure that? How do we measure how you're spending your time to make that better? How do we use technology as Google Now, I don't know if you know, that can just show you the time you will take to get home now, if you leave now, what is your flight if it's late or if it's not. So the menu pops up for you and you have all the information already interacting with your life the moment that you need it. And that's a little bit how we see it, how we think it will work. Each time more, we will be connected with technology around us, with different kinds of spaces, but at the same time with a very simple approach to it, just hearing what people want, trying to make those spaces interact with that. And each time more, I think the social interaction will be more present. When you're dealing with machines, you want also the contact eye to eye, and I think that's what will make the difference of having people connected together. So after this, it's just a very quick video to show you what we are working on as a company and the range of possibilities that is around us.
We want to create technology to dramatically improve the world.
To preserve and promote culture online.
To study and be inspired by science.
I'm I'm currently combining medical research and computer science to improve breast cancer diagnostics.
That next generation of smart, powerful women, they're already knocking on the door.
Hey, station, this is Google Plus. How do you hear me?
Soichi, hear you loud and clear, homie.
We try to push these challenging technologies to transform the world and change people's lives.
Now we're in uncharted waters, and what I'm talking about has never really been done before. But that's why we should do it.
Stopped. Thank you, thank you.